Cavity Busters was submitted as one of the games for me to check out by a developer, and having played this on stream and on my own, I found a very intriguing action roguelike that has a lot of potential, but also has some very annoying issues and missteps that I think definitely need to be looked at, and why I want to make a separate video on it. Now, please keep in mind that the footage that you are seeing is taken from the early access build and may not represent the current version of it. But as you can see by our graphics here, we're going for kind of like that Grosspunk, or however we want to describe it, aesthetic from the Binding of Isaac. We play as what appears to be a sentient tooth that is trying to save a body from some kind of evil. And to do that, we're going to move around, jump, wall slide, and of course spit our tooth at people, while collecting things like this. So, what makes Cavity Busters so unique is that it's one of the most technical roguelikes I've seen, along with some very interesting systems to it. So as you've seen in the last few minutes, you are able to run around, shoot your tooth, you can jump into the air to avoid shots, and you're also able to shoot out what's called the shotgun, making use of goop. That's the number that you see below my health bar in the upper left. Now when you stun an enemy like that, you can jump on them while they're flashing for additional damage. Now the twist of this game is, as you can see right here, that as you go through rooms, there's a chance that you're going to find diseases. And if you leave the disease alone, it will permanently affect the rest of the run, making the enemies more dangerous, harder, and you get the picture. If you take the disease, it creates a negative debuff that will affect you until it's either cured, or as you just saw right there, it may not have a cure. So runs are as much about collecting power-ups that aid you, as it is essentially digging your own grave by picking up negatives as well. And there's a lot of intricate movement and design in this game. And that's part of the issue that the title has, that there is so much going on compared to some of the other roguelikes and action roguelikes that we've played here on the channel. You have to not only deal with your own movement and kind of the tech that goes with it, but also balance that with the many different rules and systems at play. And you're going to be dealing with a lot of just weird fights like this. And I like this whole dynamic of how the game can become almost part run and gun shmup as you attempt to dodge bullets, as well as set up enemies for additional damage. Now, with this being an action roguelike, this is still a game that is predominantly skill-based, and you're going to have to get really good at dodging and prioritizing what your next action is going to be. Similar to the Binding of Isaac, the game features an extensive persistence system, that as you complete challenges, beat balls without taking damage, make progress in the game, you'll unlock additional items, diseases, and events that can show up in subsequent runs, as you just saw right there. And like I said, the game definitely has a good heart, or I guess tooth, in this case. But what kills it the most, or what I think is going to be the major issue, is the onboarding and just the general information or feedback that the game is giving you. And I want to spend the bulk of this video talking about that, because this is where I feel that the game and the developer needs to take a closer look at it. So, we're going to focus on that next, but first, a quick break. And now for a quick shout out to our current Game Wisdom supporters and sponsors. Going forward, all Patreon supporters will get early access to our videos. And if you'd like to continue this discussion on game design, be sure to check out our Discord channel, linked down below. If you're looking for more wisdom about game design, be sure to check out my latest offering of books, 20 Essential Games to Study, aimed for first-time developers and students looking for some inspiration for their upcoming games, and Game Design Deep Dive Platformers if you're interested in anything regarding 2D and 3D platforming design. They're both available in print, digital, and wherever books are being sold. Like I said, Cavity Busters has potential in terms of its roguelike and action elements, but what hurts this game right now, in my opinion, is the onboarding. This may not look like a complicated game for those of you watching this right now, but there are a lot of things that the game either doesn't really give the player any guidance on, or it leaves it so mysterious that it becomes a detriment to the game. So, the first thing is that the diseases that you've seen me pick up in this video, the icon is locked each time you find it. So, those two diseases you see on screen right now, they are fixed. But there's no way of, as the player, knowing what they're going to do to you until you pick it up, even if you've done it multiple times. And this is just a quality of life issue that I actually spoke to the developer about, and they're going to fix it. But it's issues like this that are in the version of the game right now that make it very frustrating to learn. Another aspect is how the rules of the world work. So, one of the things the game introduces to you in the tutorial is using the shovel to dig up items. But here's the catch. The shovel isn't used to dig up items. It's used to dig through walls so that you won't take damage doing so in order to find and get access to those secret pink rooms that you see on the minimap up there. But that information is not relayed to the player. Another thing that you'll see in about a minute or so is that, as I've said, you can also wall slide by basically dashing into a wall. And the game during the tutorial told me that you can use this to dodge bullets. But then there are cases where I'm on the wall and the dodge doesn't work, and I'm taking damage. And again, there's no real explanation why, or at least nothing I could see in game. And a lot of the rules that govern how this game works are very much hidden under the surface, or they'll be referenced in the tutorial, but they're very hard to kind of bring back up to memory when you play. For instance, you can dodge through bullets, but any yellow bullets will reflect back at the enemy. And again, this is one of the main things you have to keep track of as you're playing through Cavity Busters. And I really wanted to like this game. The first time we played this on stream, I basically wrote this game off and threw it in the bin. And I decided to replay a few more times on my own to get to this point of trying to learn this game. And I ended up enjoying it more as I learned, but therein lies the problem. How many people are going to want to sit through a game that is very confusing or very opaque to finally get to that point when they understand it? And onboarding is such a key aspect that it's something that we keep coming back to whenever I do our videos and design talks here. Now, with the basic gameplay itself, I also had some quality of life or just general playability concerns. The tooth shot that you see me perform, you have to charge in order for it to fire, and sometimes when I shoot it, it seems to just come back to me automatically before the shot actually goes. And you also have to hold it for it to come back, where I felt that just clicking it may be a little bit more responsive or natural for that kind of gameplay. And another point, that all these items that I pick up, even when I look at them on the map screen, it's kind of hard to tell what they are actually doing. And again, that's a similar complaint with the Binding of Isaac, with all the items in that one. And ultimately, this is a game that I really want to keep my eye on and see how it goes. Because if you are a fan of action roguelikes like the Binding of Isaac, Enter the Gungeon, then Cavity Busters definitely has potential to be the next great action roguelike. But what those games have in terms of playability and onboarding, this game lacks at the moment. And ultimately, getting people to play a game is more important than making sure that it is technically deep or competent in terms of its structure. And I do wish the best of luck for Cavity Busters, as there is definitely potential as we've talked about, but I'm curious for those of you who are watching this who play the game, what do you think about it? Because it is such an unusual take on the action roguelike genre. Once again, I would like to thank the developer for giving me a press key to check it out, and if you are working on a game that you would like me to look at here for the channel, please get in touch. Check out our Discord and Patreon link down below, and come back for daily discussions on game design here and on game wisdom, where some of the art and science of games. Until next time, this has been Cavity Busters, and have a great rest of your day. Thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed things, be sure to do all the liking and subscribing that the kids are doing these days. Check out our Discord channel link down below where we hang out and chat game design, and come back later tonight for our regular streamings. But that's it, and tune in for more great content here and on Game Wisdom, where we examine the art and science of games.